everyone, it's Skylar, welcome back to my channel, and we're on to day 4 of 31 days of November challenge month. Now, before I do this, I think you guys know, or may not know what I'm about to do. Now, I hope to give this review some justice because there's a bit of a history behind this review, which I've spoken about in past vlogs and stuff like that. So today I am going to be reviewing the 1973, so it is a movie from 1973, The Exorcist. Directed by William Friedkin, produced by William Peter Blatty, screenplay by William Peter Blatty, based on the book The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty, starring Ellen Burstyn as Chris MacNeil, Max von Sydow as Father Lancaster Merrin, Lee J. Cobb as Lieutenant William F. Kinderman, Kitty Wynn as Sharon Spencer, Jack McGowan as Burke Dennings, Jason Miller as Father Damien Karras, also known as Dr. Damien Karras, the one and only Linda Blair, who played Regan MacNeil, and Mercedes McCambridge, which is the voice of the demon Pazuzu. The music by the one and only Mike Oldfield. I love the music to this, it totally suits it, so yeah, and Jack Nitzel. Cinematography by Owen Rosman, edited by Norman Gay. Production company Hoyer Productions, distributed by Warner Brothers. Released in the USA, I'm doing this on USA ratings because I know us in the UK didn't get this released till 74. So I'm going by USA releasing, which was Boxing Day of 1973. So bear with me because it's going to be a long review. So basically the movie starts off people walking down the street, then cameras looking around the houses, then it turns into a setting in Iraq where men are herding sheep, they're digging with the shovels and pickaxes, men are running around with the wheelbarrows everywhere. Then one man runs and tells another man something in Arabic, which is the Iraqi language, so it's in Arabic. Shows him what they found and then talks some more, puts his hand in like this tomb thing, reaches out for something, dusts it off, takes it apart as like some sort of little statue, looks at it. Then the next scene is where he's sitting in this like cafe in Iraq and he's drinking some tea, takes some tablets. Then the waiter comes over, asks him if he needs anything else. He says no. Yeah. Then goes on his way. Then he goes to some sort of office where one guy is writing in Arabic, and then he's looking at some sort of pendant. And then the statue puts it down, walks over to the clock, sits down, then speaks some more in Arabic, shakes his hand, walks away, and then like goes like, it's like this, it's like a little, you know, like these underground markets, bizarre things. He goes round, looks around, walks round, and then the next thing, he drives a jeep, stops, gets out the jeep, two men come out, aims a gun at him, realises who he was, and then they run back around. Then the man carries on walking up to a statue and stares at this statue, the devil, basically. And then the sunset, and then the scene turns around and you're in Georgetown, Washington. Cars are driving over the bridge, then a house. A lady is reading and gets woken up by a noise, which is Regan's mum. She goes and checks the attic, but first she goes and checks on Regan, closes the window, tucks it in, kisses her goodnight, and then goes to sleep. Then in the morning, they've got a maid, she's cooking the breakfast. Then the mum informs, it's like the gardener, that there are rats in the attic and goes to sort them out. Then Reagan's mum goes and does a scene, because she's an actress from a film, and sort of like, she gets the microphone, she starts to sort of like protest. That's what it is in the film. Then she walks to a car, gives this driver the stuff, and then she went, look, I'm going to walk home. So she walks home, and she passes the church, looks in on this priest, and then walks away. Then at home, the daughter, she's doing some invites because she's having a party. Then Reagan comes by and gives her mum a hug and talks some more. Then like they run away and they like play some games and like tickles Reagan. And then the next scene is where the priest goes into the subway station. He's waiting for the train. A homeless man is talking to the priest, and then the priest walks away. Walks along a street, walks to his apartment, opens the door and enters. And then you see pictures of him and his family when they were little, and his family growing up. And then talks to his mum, has something to eat, looks after his mum's knees, and the priest tells the mum that you need to be seen to by someone professional, not by me. She goes, she wasn't happy. And then the mum asks the priest what is wrong. He says nothing. He gets his things and like leaves. It's like the next day. Meanwhile, Reagan finds a Ouija board down the basement. The mum and Reagan are playing with the Ouija board. Ask questions. Then the mum puts Reagan to bed and talks on what she would like to do for her birthday. Then she says, oh, I'll take you sightseeing and then I'll take you to the cinema. And Reagan agrees. Then they both talk more about the birthday. Then kisses Reagan goodnight. And then the priest is at the bar. He's talking to another priest about the job, but the priest says, you're the best, because the priest is like undecided what he wants to do in like the priesthood. But the other priest says, look, you're the best one that we can do. Then the next day, because it's Reagan's birthday, the mum argues on the operator to try and get in touch with her dad. And they're just constantly arguing on the phone. Then the night time comes and the phone goes, and like swears a bit, then puts the phone down. Then Reagan sleeps next to her mum and says that she can't sleep as her bed is shaking. So the mum hears a noise and goes up to the attic to investigate. Looks round, hears more noises and gets frightened. Then the guy that looks after the house, he comes up and basically Reagan's mum says, look, there's no rats here. And he went, I know. Then the next day, one of the priests walked with some flowers, like to sort of like decorate the church with, puts one on the altar, then turns round, and then one of the statues has been like, what's the word? Basically changes shape, it's altered, and it's just something that a demon would do. Then Reagan gives blood, has a heart trace, and just can't feel anything, then has a temperature, and Nate makes funny noises and walks round. While the mum is waiting in the office, talks with the doctor about Reagan, and then the doctor says, oh, it's all in her mind, give her these tablets, then she should be better, and blah blah blah. And then the mum says, look, what about this behaviour? No, the doctor says, what about this behaviour, all this swearing, blah 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 blah. And the mum's trying to deny and says, my Reagan's not like this, she's a good girl, blah blah blah. And the doctor still insists, look, Reagan is still thinks that there's something psychologically wrong with her, and then says, oh, but don't worry about it. Then the priest talks to somebody about his mum, and then they go and see the mum in the psychiatric unit, and then talks to her, and then he comes back out and talks to his brother, and the brother doesn't want her there, and neither does him, so they save up some money to try and put her somewhere else. And then you'll see the priest do some boxing training. Then that night, Reagan's mum is having a party and the people are talking about the priest, and like they start to argue and fight. Then the mum goes upstairs, checks on Reagan, then escorts people out the house because they're being drunk and disorderly. And then with the rest of the people that were there, it's only like a little couple of people left around the piano and having a little sing song. Then Reagan says some swear words, and then in the end you see the mum giving Reagan a bath and is taken to bed, and Reagan asks what is wrong, and the mum said it's down to your nerves, and then the bed shakes and Reagan's screaming. Then the mum panics. Meanwhile, someone's knocking on the door and talks to the priest, then puts the priest to bed and tells him to sleep, then leaves, and then basically I think he found out his mum had died, the priest's mum's died. Then has a dream about her mum and goes to her, and she walks back down the subway. Then Reagan swears again at the doctors, then the priest, and then it flips back to like the priest is giving a sermon, and then it flips back over to Reagan and the doctors, and the mum's talking about Reagan, says it's one thing, and the mum suggests that it could be something else, but the mum says the bed was shaking while she was on the bed, but the doctor says it's something else, like it's saying it's all in her head. So they try and operate on her by, like, what they do, touch some blood from here, put something in, and to find out what's going on in her brain. Done some x-rays, nothing. Then Reagan's mum calls back the doctor, and the doctor races to the house, sees Reagan on the bed, tries to pin her down and gives her an injection to calm her down, then goes and tells Reagan's mum how she is doing, and like asking what's wrong with Reagan from a doctor's perspective, and the mum just totally goes crazy. The doctor then asks what's next, so Reagan goes in, she decides like they need more tests, but them tests they come back normal, and then asks if Reagan's mum keeps drugs in the house. The mum says no, and then they suggest that Reagan sees a psychiatrist. Then the mum arrives home, the lights flicker, phone goes off, no one is on the other end, then goes upstairs to check on Reagan, closes the windows, covers Reagan up and walks out the room, and then the door goes and the man, basically someone tells Reagan's mum that someone she knows commits suicide. Then the next thing, Reagan's down the stairs, she does a whole spider walk, the blood dripping out of her mouth. Then someone asks Reagan some questions under hypnosis. Then Reagan goes crazy, and then they get to find out that someone else is inside her, that she's actually been possessed. So they try to restrain her, obviously. Then one of the priests, he goes jogging and talks to the lieutenant, and they walk off together, start to ask questions about witchcraft and desecration at the church, and tells the priest about someone that was killed, had his head turned 360-degree angle, and things that they are both linked, and the priest then walked away and asks. Then the lieutenant says, "Do you want to see a film?" Says yeah, and then they ask about the film and he goes, "Oh, I've already seen that one." Then back at the clinic, they're now saying Reagan can be possessed, that Reagan's sort of possessed. But the mum doesn't want Reagan to be taken away, but the doctors say that there's one more chance, there's one more thing that they could do before she gets locked up, which is an exorcism. The doctor explains more about it, and Reagan's mum, she reluctantly says yes. Then they take Reagan to home to rest. The mum finds a cross and she asks everybody, "Did you put this cross under the bed?" They both denied. Then a man is checking for clues and finds a statue, walks away. Then Reagan's mum confronts Carl about the cross. I've just been explaining, denies it, then asks somebody else, denies it. Then there's a knock on the door and a man talks to her mum. And they talk about how the friend got killed, which is the lieutenant, the man is the lieutenant, killed and pushed from Reagan's bedroom, but nobody was around when he was killed. Then the lieutenant looked around and then gets asked if he wants more coffee, so he does. Then Reagan's mum gets him some coffee. He looks around, talks about Reagan. Then he says, can he talk to Reagan sometime, which she agrees to. Then asks for her autograph, the mum's autograph, because obviously she's an actress. She then agrees. Then he leaves. Mum goes upstairs, starts to hear Reagan scream. Reagan's swearing again, slaps her mum. Reagan's head spins round, says more obscenities, like lick me, fuck me. It's bad. To Reagan's mum. Then Reagan's mum finally meets with the priest and talks with the priest and walks around, talks about Reagan and then asks about an exorcism. And the priest said, look, this doesn't happen much anymore, and tells them that basically the mum saying, look, Reagan is possessed, please bless and get me an exorcism. And she's crying on the priest's shoulder. She walks up the stairs to Reagan's room, so the priest enters Reagan's room, talks to Reagan and says basically the person that's possessing Reagan has basically said, look, I'm not Reagan, I'm the devil, and she's with us, and if you want to give it a message, give it to me, sort of thing. But asked if he knows her mother's maiden name. Basically vomits on him, and then, oh yeah, the devil's asking the priest what his mother's maiden name is, and he wouldn't tell her, so vomits on him. Then goes in the kitchen and sees Reagan's drawings, and Reagan's mum gives the priest the t-shirt because she washed it and ironed it for him. Talks some more, and basically the priest tells the mum, like, look, she's the devil himself. Tells Reagan's mum that she needs psychiatric help, but the mum says, no, I want her to be exorcised. But the priest walks out and says good night, walks to a recording studio and hears Reagan's normal voice. And then the priest gives a sermon, does the whole bread and the wine malarkey. Then the priest again talks again with the devil inside Reagan's body, like goes back to the house and goes up the stairs and talks to Reagan's body. Then talks in different languages, and the priest throws holy water on Reagan's possessed body. Talks a bit more, walks away down the stairs, goes to talk to Reagan's mum, and she asks him for a drink, and he says that he wants a scotch. So she gets him the scotch, sits down beside him, and then he asks where's Reagan's father is, and then she says, look, he's in Europe. and says that you need to tell him about this, and she didn't really want to. So he said he put tap water on and he reacted violently. And then here's what he recorded in Reagan's bedroom, and then gets a phone call, and then goes back to Reagan's mum's house, races up the stairs, opens the door, and goes to Reagan and sees her chest, and it says on her chest, "Help me," on the chest. Then the priest goes to see another priest, like the top father, the diocese, whatever you want to call it. Talks about doing the exorcism himself, but he needs help. Then talks about getting someone to perform an exorcism, and then goes and sends a letter to him. The other priest, he reads it, puts it in his pocket, and basically he gets a taxi to go to the house, to Reagan's mum's house. Knocks on the door, sees the other priest, tells him to get some things. Then the priest goes into Reagan's room, and Reagan, like, he prays, and then, at first, the priest is downstairs praying. She asks Reagan's mum for a drink, and puts some brandy in it, and then the other priest returns with some things, and goes, talks it over with the other priest. Then they both go upstairs and ask what Reagan's, to Reagan's mum, what's Reagan's middle name, and it's Teresa, and says that's a lovely name. Goes into Reagan's room, pours holy water on her, and is sick in the priest's face. Then the priest says the Lord's Prayer and prays some more, and the bed goes proper bangs up and down. Pours more holy water, they like proper thuds up and down. No. You get what I'm saying. Pour some more holy water, and then the bed rises up, pray some more, and they continue on with the exorcism. As Reagan continues to scream, the priest does the sign of the cross. For the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, you know what I mean. And one of the priests washes the scarf, but items still move around in the bedroom, and Reagan still defies the priest, while the priest continues with the exorcism, and Reagan's head does the 360. Then Reagan levitates off the bed, like the bed's down here, with my finger, moves right up, so it levitates off the bed. Priest says, "The power of Christ compels you, the power of Christ compels you," just constantly repeats that. Then, lots of times, then Reagan falls back onto the bed, knocks one of the priests on the floor, while the other priest carries on with the exorcism. They both fall to the floor, then gets back up, covers Reagan over with a blanket. They both have a little rest before they start again. So they sit on the stairs, talk some more, and ask to be excused one of the priests who he needs to take his tablets. Then the other priest goes in and checks on Reagan, but the priest in the bathroom is taking his medicine. But back in Reagan's room, the priest wipes Reagan's forehead, who speaks in a tone like his mum, but the priest shouts that it's not his mum, and walks to the other priest and walks down the stairs, and the other priest goes back to Reagan, who shakes. Then the priest again does the sign of the cross, the Father, the Son, Holy Ghost, Spirit, and then pours holy water on Reagan, then reads again from the Bible, which is the Lord's Prayer. But downstairs, the other priest talks to Reagan's mum and tells her that she's not going to die, and because Reagan's mum goes, "Is my Reagan going to die?" And he goes, "No." Legs it back up the stairs. Then Reagan's mum answers the door, and the other priest comes back to Reagan's bedroom and finds the other priest on the floor, and then he taps the devil that's supposed to be Reagan. And then what happened, they're that close that Reagan's spirit, possessed spirit, goes from Reagan to the other priest. So Reagan's flown into the corner and Reagan's like back to herself again, and her mum hugs Reagan, but then the other priest, who's now being possessed, hurls himself out the window and crashes down the stairs, and he's dead to his death. Then the other priest prays for him, and then the McNeil family decide that it's best to move from the house and leave the home. Hugs the maid goodbye, leaves, and as she gets in the car, another priest comes over and they say their goodbyes to the mum. And like as they get into the car and just about to drive away, the priest gives this necklace to the Reagan's mum, and the Reagan's mum goes, no, you keep it. Then they drive away, close the gate, the priest closed the gate, and then the priest walks away, the priest walks away and looks down the steps, then walks to the house, sees the lieutenants, and they're having a little chat, and he asks if Reagan's okay, and they say they're all good, and they've gone, they've moved, and then they say the goodbyes. But then the lieutenant asks the father to the cinema, but declines and says he's seen the film, and then says, look, do you want to come for some lunch? And then they go, yeah, and then they walked off. The last scene is you see them walking away to have their lunch together. Whew, wow, that was a friggin' long review. Bearing in mind it was 2 hours 2 minutes, so just take that into account. My thoughts on The Exorcist. I absolutely adore The Exorcist. It is one of my top 70 film of all time. As I said yesterday, it is in my top 5 favourite films of all time. So, yeah. And also, I just adored everything about the film. It just captured everything from a demonic possession and an actual exorcism, and it just felt real to me, and I absolutely enjoyed every aspect of the film. I was gripped on my seat. Now I know why my own mother went to watch this film and at the age that she did and felt what she did. I felt exactly the same thing. But to me, I didn't exactly run for the door. I was just proper gripped and enthralled. I loved every moment of the film. I loved the whole cinematography, right down to the music by Mike Oldfield. That realistically set the tone for that film. I loved Linda Blair's part. She stole the show in that film. She was absolutely fantastic. She played the part really well. I know she had a few nightmares after the film and stuff like that, but she done Reagan's part justice, and that part suited her down to the ground. I just loved everything about the film. It's like when I talk about Midnight Express, when I love every single part of the film, even though it's 2 different films from 2 different genres, but I felt the same thing, apart from I got upset after watching Midnight Express. But the film gripped me that much, and I love it. I love it when a film grips me, and I love when I'm not rushing for wanting to a film end like I did with yesterday's film. So rating for this film is 10 out of 10. I can't give it no less than a 10, because it is I'm speechless because that's what I can say about that film. I know it's been half an hour long, but you have to do a review this long to give it justice. So, yep. Now, on to tomorrow's review. It will be from 1974, but I have no idea what I'm going to pick yet. So, yeah. I really hope you enjoyed this review. Go to Laurie's Holt's channel, which I know her review won't be as long as mine. And I also hope that you are enjoying this review series between myself and Laurie, and I hope I gave this film justice. Sorry for the spoiler alert, but this is a film that needed to go in some depth to it. So, of course, stay gory, have unpleasant dreams, and I really hope you enjoyed my review of The Exorcist from 1973. Ta-ta for now. Bye.